The following is a presentation of The Day.
As we reach the halfway point in the boys' basketball season, the questions seem to outweigh the answers. What teams are getting better? What teams are poised to make the late season push towards the top? And perhaps most importantly, who might be able to challenge the big three of St. Bernard, New London, and Fitch? NFA has been up and down this year, looking for the winning streak that pushes them towards the top. A win over Hamden showed what the Wildcats can do, with balanced scoring and clutch defense. Ethan Graham has been steady, Jameer Ford and Josh Lavoie improving, and brothers Javon Thompson and Jayandre Pontes bring a competitiveness that Coach Jeff Brown needs. A win over East Lyme would be 2 in a row and a big win in Division I. East Lyme has been improving all year, winning 5 in a row before losing to Fitch. Mikey Timpano makes the Vikings go. And when Oliver Hibbard plays big, they can be a matchup problem for anyone. The Vikings can shoot the lights out at every position and will need to be sharp to take down the Cats. Viking Valley will be packed and loud as they welcome the Red Sea. Can East Lyme get back to their winning ways, or will NFA start a streak? We find out as the Vikings host the Wildcats, and all the action is live on game day on theday.com.
As everyone attempts to stay away from the frigid cold outside, the ECC boys are all trying to get hot. As the midpoint of the season is upon us, identities revealed, and who steps up and who steps off, all coming in the next week or two. And tonight, we feature two teams trying to figure out if they're ready to make the leap into the conversation, as the East Lyme Vikings play host to the NFA Wildcats, and all the action is live on Game Day. Game Day is brought to you by Waterford Dental Health. Gear up for game day with a winning smile from Waterford Dental Health. Your go-to top-notch dental care in a relaxed, friendly setting. Whether you need a routine checkup or cosmetic boost or an advanced treatment, their experienced team has you covered. So you can enjoy the game with confidence and comfort if you schedule your appointment today. Waterford Dental Health, where your smile is our top priority. Visit us online or call now to book. Casey O'Neill, along with the coach, Chris Giusti, and I always call this time of year, it's identity time, right? It's who are we becoming? Everybody's kind of got the rust off, and these two teams, they bring more questions than they do answers, which seems to be the state of the league.
Yeah, two teams that are trying to get a little respect on their name, and an old rivalry renewed. This used to be one of the marquee matchups in the ECC, and both teams are ascending. NFA is one of the few teams in the state that hasn't played 10 games yet. This is only going to be their 9th contest. So they're still young and improving, and they had a big win Saturday night against state power Hamden High School, so they're on the right track. East Lyme had a really good week last week. They went 2-1. They beat their nemesis Waterford easily, so they want to put together a win streak here, and both teams trying to make other people recognize that hey, we're in this league too, and you should pay attention to us.
Well, one person you can't help but pay attention to is the sports doctor. Sports doctor, your thoughts on tonight?
Hey, guys, a couple of things, too. When you talk to the coaches before the game, Jeff Brown, what does it take to rebuild a program at NFA? He says, well, it takes kids to buy in. And that's what he's hoping this group does. They're young, they're talented, and he likes to coach them. So the buy-in, very important, like you said, the ascend. And for East Lyme, Coach Dan Scheider, he's been with these kids since they were freshmen. He was an assistant here under Jeff Bernardi, and he likes this group a lot. He's got some seniors, and he's ready to roll. It's a big-time test for both these teams tonight, guys.
Thank you, sports doctor. Coach, you're no stranger to this building. You could have many a night where you were involved in games here. As we get ready to meet both of these teams and their starting lineups, just your thoughts about this specific gym and what kind of environment it brings to these two teams.
It's definitely, when it's rocking, it's one of the better home court advantages for the home team in our league. Tonight, the cold probably keeping some people back in their homes, but this has always been a home court advantage, a tough place to play. NFA will have to be on their A game tonight.
Well, you know what? When I want to be on my game, I think of some freshly squeezed juice. So why don't we talk first about the keys to the game for the NFA Wildcats?
Okay, Casey, for NFA, don't settle. NFA sometimes falls into stretches where they force quick or unbalanced shots. Run the offense, take good shots where you have offensive rebounding position. Scratch and claw. The Wildcat squad is scrappy and at their best when they are getting extra opportunities. Create deflections, dive on loose balls, and grab more offensive rebounds. And Hibbard claws. The defense must make it a point to limit East Lyme's forward Oliver Hibbard. Deny him the ball and box him out.
That's it. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, it can only mean one thing. Someone didn't pay the power. But no, the East Lyme Vikings are about to get announced, so why don't you talk about the keys to the game for the Vikings?
Okay, Casey, for East Lyme, take good care. NFA will pressure and trap the ball. Don't panic and turn it over. Use ball fakes and make strong passes to beat the pressure. Knock them down. The Vikings offense is at its best when multiple guys are hitting from the perimeter. Share the ball, make the extra pass, and knock down open three-point shots. And Oliver Garden. NFA wants to limit the big man, but East Lyme needs to feed him. Think unlimited breadsticks. Get the ball to number 2 as often as possible and run the offense through him.
Thank you very much. As we listen to the rest of the starting lineups, there's the big O, Oliver Hibbard. You know, there aren't many guys in the league who are true bigs, who run the floor, back to the basket bigs. Hibbard is one of them. I think he is the difference maker for East Lyme. For East Lyme to stay in this one tonight, they're going to have to shoot the lights out, but they're also going to need to get a big game from Hibbard. He has to literally play big because they are overall going to be undersized in this one. Let's take a moment to meet all of the players in tonight's game.
Josh Lavoie, Ram Middle School.
Akai Soria, RMMS Elementary.
Javon Thompson, Teachers Memorial Global Studies Magnet Middle School.
Keegan Johnson, St. Pat's School.
Jameer Ford, Isaac Middle School.
Ethan Graham, Franklin Elementary.
Carter Stringer, Baldwin Middle School.
Davion Brown, Teachers Memorial.
DeAndre Pontes, Kelly Middle School.
Rashawn Clayhart, Kelly Middle School.
Angel Torres, Kelly Middle School.
Renee Montalvo, Wyndham Middle School.
Evan Gelati, Elizabeth Central School.
Josiah Success, Kelly Middle School.
Reggie Schwartz, Flanders Elementary School.
Mikey Zapano, Flanders Elementary.
Oliver Hibbard, Flanders Elementary.
Javier Mangual, Flanders Elementary.
Ryan Duker, Flanders Elementary.
Liam Golostoyan, Salem Elementary School.
Ryan Wargo, the Lily B. Haynes Elementary.
Karch Kazher, Lily B. Haynes Elementary.
Luke Walsh, Nyack Center School.
Tanner O'Brien, Flanders Elementary.
Jaden Smith, Nyack Center School.
As we get ready for the opening tip, we should let you know that the opening tip is sponsored by Kuchar Financial. When you want more than just tips, when you want sound financial planning, go see Lee Kuchar at Kuchar Financial in New London. Lee can help with financial planning and investment, tax preparation, and planning for your business and personal needs. So feel better about your financial decisions. Go to Kuchar Financial. I do, and I feel better about my financial decisions. As we get ready to tip this one off, Juice, I want to say that the atmosphere here, you mentioned when it gets rocking, not as many student sections as we've seen this year. So I'm going to put out, right as we head to halftime, I'm going to put a challenge out to the rest of the ECC.
Yes.
And tonight, it's Viking Valley, the Red Sea. Hibbard will jump it with Jayandre Pontes. NFA in the road red, East Lyme in the home white. And we are underway here at East Lyme. Hibbard wins the tip. Back it goes to Ryan Wargo. He quickly gets it to their engine, Mikey Timpano. And we're off.
And the Wildcats open up, man to man.
Timpano, floater, no good. Hibbard went up high, steals the offensive rebound, gets it again. Shot blocked by Pontes, but a little hustle play from Wargo keeps it alive.
Good start by East Lyme to get some extra opportunities.
Step back three, in and out by Hibbard. That's something he can do and has been doing more of. In the other direction, Stringer hangs in the air and he'll go to the line. Carter Stringer attacked the basket, he'll shoot two.
Yeah, one of 3 sophomores that the Wildcats start, along with Jameer Ford and Josh Lavoie. Carter Stringer.
3 sophomores and 2 juniors, a full house of kids coming back next year. If you look at the roster, there's only a few seniors on the entire roster.
Yeah, very young. A lot of sophomores on their JV team as well, so they're going to be reckoned with for years to come.
Stringer knocks the second one down, and first point of the game goes to NFA. They love to run that high screen and roll with Timpano and Hibbard. Timpano senses the mismatch, gets to the basket, no good. Hibbard had a chance at the rebound, but instead Stringer picks it up, swings over to Lavoie, and NFA will have its first true offensive set.
East Lyme in his zone.
Long three off the mark from Stringer. Timpano drives baseline, tries to throw the pass over the top, and it's tipped and intercepted. Stringer with good hands.
Yeah, NFA gets a lot of deflections. They're active on defense.
Kick out three strong, no good from Ford, and the shooting has been a little off for NFA, and East Lyme can't get there to go down either.
Well, East Lyme will play the zone, and that's what they're hoping for. They want NFA to shoot that three. NFA's going to have to make some of those or try to get the ball into the middle by attacking the gaps, getting somebody open at the foul line.
There's Hibbard. Beautiful move, the spin. He's an offensive weapon when he gets going, and early on he's looked like he wants to get to the basket.
Yeah, twisted and turning, the big fella.
Nice look to the free throw line. No good on the shot from Graham, but I like the look there. Get him in that spot, the soft spot of the zone.
Yeah, that's a weak spot of the zone. You can get it, collapse the zone by getting the ball into the middle through the pass or by the dribble.
Beautiful steal by Pontes over to Ford, and a sloppy turnover from East Lyme off this little pressure here from NFA.
Yeah, they'll mix it up and throw this 1-2-2 press in.
Hibbard ends up with it. Step back three, back iron, no good. Tipped into the hands of Lavoie. Graham pulls it up and buries it. Ethan Graham is probably their best pure shooter.
Yeah, good decision to shot fake, get in rhythm, hit the 2-point pull-up.
Nice look on the cut. Walsh finishes it. Timpano, good vision, and a nice crisp pass.
Yeah, good back screen, no communication from the NFA defense.
Lavoie turns it over, but they're going to say it's off East Lyme's hands.
Yeah, that was clearly deflected. East Lyme had a chance to grab that one. I don't think they knew it was deflected.
A nice inbounds pass. Good run play, but Graham couldn't finish, and Hibbard with another rebound.
Hibbard's been active, Casey. That's a good sign for the Vikings.
Going to get a foul away from the play. Foul's on red 5, that's Graham. Probably a break for NFA because I think Hibbard had a step going to the basket. So.
Yeah, he's had a look in his eye that he wants to take over this game tonight. That's something that East Lyme needs. Sometimes if you become too reliant on your three-pointers and they don't fall, game over.
First substitution of the game in for NFA, Akai Soria into the game. He replaces the big man Pontes, so you're going to see NFA go a little smaller. Interesting if they try to use Hibbard here. Instead, a pull-up three, buried from Luke Walsh.
Another Miscommunication on the ball screen. NFA's got to shore up that ball screen defense.
There's the response, a 3 from Stringer.
Yeah, he's a shooter. He's a spot-up shooter. Can't leave him open if you're the Vikings. Got to make him dribble.
There's a dump down to Hibbert. He's got the size advantage here on Soria. Spins. I love the little jump hook, but he can go even farther with that. He doesn't need to use the jump hook.
And he could have took his time.
Tipped out of bounds. It'll go over to, actually it'll stay with NFA.
But he's been a factor on the defensive end as well. You see right there, that's a shot that NFA will usually take, but that's an alter. They force a pass and goes out of bounds. Luckily, it stays with the Wildcats.
Schwartz in for Walsh on the East Lyme side, their first sub. Long 3 from Graham is pure.
Yeah, NFA going 4 out on the offense, so East Lyme's got to make sure they're communicating, pointing if they're going to stay in that 2-3 zone.
Little weave here from East Lyme. Trying to get a mismatch now. Hibbert comes up top with Timpano to run that screen and roll. Long 3 from Timpano, in and out. Stringer with a rebound. Carter Stringer doing a little bit of everything right now for NFA. Nice drive to the basket by Ethan Graham. The lead up to 6 and a timeout for East Lyme.
Yeah, good transition offense by the Wildcats. Graham drives baseline. He had just hit a 3-point shot, so now he fakes, drives baseline. There's no help. Where's the help inside? East Lyme has got to shore that up. See, no help here. There's got to be somebody in the middle waiting for that.
So in the early going, I think what our assessment is true, which is if East Lyme shoots the ball well, and they haven't really shot it well yet, they've had plenty of good looks. They've missed some layups underneath. They've missed a couple of threes. But if they shoot it well, they could be right in this game. NFA is definitely overall going to get up and down the floor more. NFA is going to get to the basket more. But I think right now this is more of a if East Lyme makes shots, NFA can't get out and run and push and get to the basket as easily either. So East Lyme's just got to make shots.
Yeah, and not turn it over. A little bit of pressure here.
They get it to Hibbert. Swings open to an open Timpano. Good defense. Turnover. Graham. Up ahead to the new into the ball game, Keegan Johnston, and he immediately contributes. Been on the floor for 10 seconds, has 2 points.
And NFA's made their last 4 field goals to open up an 8-point lead.
Hibbert spins, pulls up from the elbow, and gets the soft bounce.
East Lyme needed that chance to exhale.
Lead 6.
Vikings in man-to-man now. NFA will run their man offense.
Which is Michigan. Lavoie to the basket, no good. Hibbert tips the rebound, and Soria going up and getting the rebound, even though he's the smaller of the two, but can't get it to go. And East Lyme right back on offense. Tipped by Soria. He goes one-on-one with Hibbert, and Hibbert pins him to the backboard. But the follow from Stringer.
A relentless transition by the Wildcats. East Lyme got a block shot, but nobody's there to get the defensive rebound.
Timpano pulls up in the lane, too strong. Rebound, Stringer. Again, East Lyme not making shots. The lead is currently 8.
NFA comfortable now. This is their pace of play. They like to play fast, get up shots quickly.
Step back 3, a little bit strong. And East Lyme corrals the rebound. Hibbert fakes the 3, kick out. Open three is off the side from Wargo. Graham pushing in the other direction now for NFA.
Here we go. Last one, Jeff. Go Michigan. Michigan, patient. Patient.
Maybe about a half-second differential, so NFA could essentially hold for the last shot here between game clock and shot clock.
All the way to a cutting Graham, turned over, loose on the floor. Vikings end up with a jump ball. Possession arrow favors NFA, and we'll get some subs.
The Vikings, number 3, Javi Manuel, returning to the lineup, number 14, Luke Walsh.
Double, Keegan.
4.7 seconds remaining in the quarter. 8-point lead for NFA. Chance to up it here with the last shot of the quarter. Inbound Graham, no good. Whistle with 2.7 seconds, and the foul is going to be called on East Lyme.
Foul number 3.
Javier Mangual just into the ball game, and that'll send Graham to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, nice little out-of-bounds play design. Second time they've run that play. Graham screens across opposite, then seals. And he has a nice little point-blank attempt at the basket. That time he wasn't able to finish, but drew the foul.
Javon Thompson into the game for NFA, along with his brother, J-Andre Pontes. Graham with one more and a chance to make it a 10-point first quarter lead for NFA. Mangual, and that's going to get us to the end of the first quarter. A good first quarter for NFA. They have a 10-point lead. We'll be right back with second quarter action. You're watching Game Day live at day.com.
Here at Game Day, we're proud to bring you unrivaled video coverage of local high school sports. All of it free for you to watch. These videos are not free for us to produce them. If you'd like to ensure that we can keep covering your school and your teams, there's a few ways that you can support us. Hit up our merch store and pick up some game day gear in your school colors. Our camera operators are always looking for those shirts and hoodies in the crowd, and you may see yourself on our next live stream. We get a lot of support from businesses in our community, and if you'd like to join them as a sponsor, send us a message and we can connect you with our advertising staff. Finally, The Day is the organization behind everything we do here at Game Day. If you want to support The Day's community journalism, consider a print or digital subscription at theday.com/subscribe.
Good start for the Wildcats. They have a 10-point lead as we start the second quarter. What do you want to see out of East Lyme here to cut into this 10-point lead?
They got to make some shots. 4 of 13 from the field, 1 of 5 from three-point land. Got to make some shots. They had some point-blank opportunities in that first quarter. Got to put them through. The Wildcats are going to keep scoring. The NFA shot 7 of 16. They're going to shoot a lot of shots. East Lyme's got to be able to score more efficiently.
Wargo to Walsh. Nice dump down. Getting to the basket, but not finishing is O'Brien. Lavoie with the rebound.
East Lyme playing man-to-man. NFA's comfortable going against this.
Good screen. Little rotation now. Lavoie. They jumped down and finally got a stop as Thompson found himself unguarded. Other direction. 3 from Luke Walsh. That's exactly what East Lyme needed.
Yeah, and lost in transition. Where the Wildcats, nobody picked up Walsh.
Drive to the basket, and drawing the foul is Javon Thompson. He'll shoot 2.
Now, good help there that time on the baseline drive. Keep your hands off, straight up. Don't give the referee the opportunity to bail the offensive player out.
So 2 shots here from Thompson.
Javon Thompson.
You know, as we look back here, it wasn't that long ago where this was a coaching battle between Jeff Bernardi and you, Chris Juster. Now we've seen some coaching turnover in the ECC. A lot of young coaches coming in and taking on teams. So, you know, when we look back at the veteran coaches who have been turned over, right? and some of the younger coaches who have come in, it's to be expected that it might take a few years for some of these programs to kind of assume the identity of their new coach.
Yeah, 2 assistants, now head coaches, so they're going to put their own stamp on things.
Now, my son says that was the peak of ECC coaching when you and Bernardi went back to each other. I think that's very, very kind. But
Very, very kind. Thank you. But I loved coaching against Jeff. He was a tactician, and you had to make sure your team was prepared.
3 up and no good from Walsh. Rebound, NFA, who did a real good job defensively in that possession.
Absolutely. For the most part, NFA will play man-to-man. They'll mix in that full court pressure.
Pontes with the rebound. Finds a cutting Ford who kicks it back out. Nice cut. And the basket is good from Javon Thompson.
East Lyme fell asleep. Got caught watching the ball. Thompson slips behind.
Timpano picks the dribble up, kicks out to Mangual for 3, no good. And those are the shots that they were making against Waterford.
Yeah, and it's danger time now for the Vikings. I always felt like when you're in this kind of situation, you want to make sure that you get your veteran players the basketball. Don't try to come back on a whim. I think they got to look to try and get the ball back to Hibbard, try to get to the line or get him something easy inside.
NFA being patient on offense. Lavoie drives baseline. Good look underneath the Pontes, who cannot finish it. And Hibbard rips down the rebound. Timpano in the other direction, with NFA back comfortably. Timpano, baseline floater, and he's fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
But that's good. You got to get to the line. You got to start to settle down the transition and the offensive sets to make sure that you see the ball go through. Get some confidence, that give you a pep in your step on defense. NFA, as I mentioned in the pregame, sometimes they can get in the habit of just taking the first available jump shot, but the last couple of possessions, they made it a point to drive the ball, and I think they're at their best when they're attacking the rim like that and making the defense have to defend and decide what they're going to do, because they have so many different guys that are athletic. When you drive the ball, you put the onus on the defense to make a decision.
Timpano, second is good as well, and it's back down into single digits. East Lyme, I think, more than anything else. I mean, stops, they'll get some stops. They have to find a way to get that offense going. Johnson, Thompson, high floater in the air. Hibbard, good rebound. Hibbard will push. All the way to the basket. Hibbard spins, gets caught underneath the basket, and a bailout foul, in so much as he had nowhere to go, but he'll go to shoot 2 instead.
A good looking spin move again, attacked, and I think you can live with that. Getting it to your big man and having him take it to the basket. At the end of the day, sometimes those are the plays you just got to live with.
First one is good as Graham checks back into the ball game, and Pontes will have a seat. One more for Hibbard. Be nice to get this thing down to 7 for them and try and get a stop. For NFA, I think they just got to keep working. They're getting plenty of good shots, so I think they just got to keep working the offense.
East Lyme back to the zone.
And that's going to break a zone up pretty quick. Jameer Ford knocks down a 3. Hibbard guarded by Graham. Picks up the dribble. Finds a cutting Mangual. Dumps it down O'Brien. O'Brien over the top. No good, and it goes off of Mangual out of bounds.
I like that. Getting Hibbard the ball at like what they call the pinch post there, right above the three-point line, elbow extended. But when he drives the ball, you got to clear out that side. It's all jumbled up over there. He has nowhere to go.
Shot clock at 15. Baseline drive, they shut it off well. Kick back out, Graham for three, no good, back iron. And Walsh with the rebound for East Lyme. Good timeout from Dan Scheider as we got a little sloppy and Walsh was in some trouble. So we got a timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick timeout. 10-point lead for Wildcats. You're watching Game Day Live on Gay.com.
Communities that are no longer covered by local newspapers become news deserts that lack journalists providing government oversight and access to quality information. The Day is committed to providing comprehensive news coverage in every town in southeastern Connecticut, but we've had to scale back coverage in some towns, including Ledyard and North Stonington, due to market forces affecting local news companies around the country. We need the continued support of the communities we serve to help fund additional staffing that enables us to provide the kind of coverage our readers expect in every town in the region. If you'd like to support the Day's News Desert Fund, please visit givebutter.com/theday.
Vikings find themselves in a 10-point hole as we're heading towards halftime. Sports Doctor, you've been listening in. What are you hearing?
Coach Scheider thinks his kids are playing a little bit tight on the offensive end. Just kind of let it rip and play within the flow of the game. And, Jeff Brown is confident that his kids can take the East Lyme kids off the dribble and keep the pressure on and pedal to the metal, Casey. 50-50 balls are huge during this game, too.
Well, East Lyme is a senior-dominated team. Most of their whole starting five are seniors. And we talked about the youth for NFA. You don't think of seniors as getting tight, but I think playing in front of your home crowd in a game that is maybe a step. It's Division I game, and you want to show everybody that you can compete at this level. I think they got to remind themselves they just won 5 straight. They can play. They just got to let themselves do so.
Yeah, NFA is a difficult matchup for a lot of teams though, because everybody can dribble the ball. Everybody handles the ball well, can drive it to the hoop.
Timpano fouls Lavoie, and he'll go to the line. Yeah, I mentioned in the open, they beat Hamden's down a little bit. They're not they're not a powerhouse Hamden team, but that's a good win, right? Beating a team like Hamden, who is a perennial, and it's a big school.
Mm-hmm.
So a win like that's a good win. And how did they do it? They did it in exactly what you just said. They are a difficult matchup because few teams have the ball handling at every position, but it's not without some size. It's not without some physicality, right? They got some physical guys. I mean, they're not overwhelmingly big, but they can put a wave after wave, and they go 8 deep, and everybody can handle. So yeah, you could see where they give some teams some problems.
They actually remind me a lot of Fitch. Just they don't have Xavier Good.
Yeah.
They don't have that alpha scorer yet. It's a scoring by committee, as you're seeing tonight. But they switch to this zone here, and it gives teams fits because they're long and they're athletic.
Hibbard picks up the loose ball and finishes at the basket. Yeah, I mean, the good news is they don't need one guy. They have 5 different options every night. The bad news is when things get tight, you don't have that one guy you can kind of rely on. But with all these sophomores and 2 juniors, that guy might be on the floor. We just don't know it yet.
Exactly. Might be this guy.
It might be this guy right there on cue. He's Ford tough. Jameer Ford knocks down the triple. He's a shooter.
Absolutely. When he is feeling it, he can fill it up.
Walsh drives to the basket and decided to kick it out to Hibbard, and I don't think that was the best decision. Turnover out of bounds. It goes to the Wildcats.
Yeah, I thought he had the layup, but maybe he thought otherwise. Nice step in, almost a steal, but instead Lavoie gets to the basket, and I think he got fouled, but they're going to say it's out of bounds instead. Another little out-of-bounds opportunity here. NFA's been successful on a couple of these.
They go the high route, and we're going to get a foul against East Lyme. Fouls on Hibbard, who banged Thompson to the ground. I like that Hibbard, you know what, that he's trying to maintain a presence in there. Nice look to Graham. Ford feels the hot hand, no good. Hibbard with a rebound. Stutter step, kick out. Timpano picks the dribble up. Walsh, long three, good! Luke Walsh keeps the lead respectable right now. A deficit for them, I should say. It's 9.
Yeah, just get a stop here, try to chip away.
Lavoie, beautiful use of the left hand, takes him off the dribble and scores.
Yeah, too easy. Able to go both ways. Josh Lavoie, sophomore captain for the Wildcats.
I love that. Nice cut. Foul's going to be on Ford on the floor as he went over the back of O'Brien.
Lavoie, coach's son, Casey. His father coached at East Hartford. Went against him a few times in my career. Always had tough teams, well coached. Made a state final, double O state final back in 2018. So Josh, knows the game and plays hard.
Up top, Timpano. Under a minute remaining in the half. 11-point lead for NFA. And Hibbard a little strong on the pass. Graham to Soria. Stripped by Hibbard into the hands of Graham with a soft touch. The lead's 13.
And those are the loose balls. East Lyme's got to be able to get those. Can't give NFA these extra chances.
Hibbard wanted it. Timpano instead drives. And a nice look underneath. O'Brien cannot finish, but he'll draw the foul and shoot 2. So we're 16 seconds away from the half. At halftime, of course, you're going to want to stay here and watch the Athletes of the Future Grade 8, as well as the features on Mikey Timpano and JeAndre Pontes and Javon Thompson. And if anyone's wondering about St. Bernard and Fitch, they're at the end of 1, and the Falcons with a 2-point lead at the end of 1 in what, if it's way early, but if Fitch could upset St. Bernard tonight, the way New London is playing, it would throw everything on its ear, which would be fabulous. I love chaos. It would be chaos in the East.
Oh, we need a little bit of chaos. It's been a lot of chalk so far this season.
Going to get a foul away on Stringer. I believe that's their 5th, which will be 2 more shots at the line. As O'Brien went 0 for 2 in the previous one. We're also going to talk when we come back at halftime. We're going to talk about the state of the league, give our opinion based on what we see here tonight, as well as that Fitch St. Bernard game, and talk about a couple of the games that some of the teams have on their schedule coming up. And then I'm going to issue a challenge to the students of Waterford, to a lesser extent Wyndham, to the students of Grasso Tech, and to a lesser extent Cheney Tech. But I got a challenge as we come back from halftime. One more for, that's a tough 0 for 4 for O'Brien at the line. But Hibbard with a hustle save. Walsh, shot clock down. Last shot at the end of the quarter, end of the half, no good. We're at halftime. It's a 13-point lead for NFA. Not the prettiest of halves, but an effective start for Coach Jeff Brown. The sports doctor will have a couple of words with Coach Brown and see what he thinks about that first half. Sports doctor with Coach.
Coach, you guys go in the locker room up 34-21. What was working offensively in the first half?
Our defense, actually. And defense is what we're trying to predicate it on, so we're just going to keep pressing up on defense and see what happens.
On the offensive end, you guys got to the rim. You hit some three-point shots.
Yeah.
A good mix.
Yeah, we try to attack attack mode on offense, and then defensively just lock in.
What do you talk about in the locker room to close this game out?
Defense, that last possession, same thing.
Defense. All defense here, Casey, coach.
Thank you, Sports Doctor. 13-point lead for NFA. We'll be back with second half action, but stay here for videos and highlights. You're watching Game Day live on day.com.
Mikey is a very, very hard worker. He's a guy that controls what he can control. He's a lead by example kind of guy. Pure shooter. He's disciplined as they come, and yeah, he's an easy guy to coach.
Work ethic, honestly, didn't really realize my work ethic was great because I just love playing basketball. I just go out and play as much as I could because I just loved it.
You know, you can coach your butt off, but a lot of the work comes down to what guys are doing behind closed doors and what they're doing on their own. I'm a big believer in giving kids the type of drills they need to be working on, but it's now up to them to go work on them. And Mikey's lucky enough to have a family that has a full court in his backyard, and that has been something that he has fully leveraged, and his production's shown from it.
Court in my backyard, my dad set it up for me and my sister when I was fifth or sixth grade, and I'd say ever since then I just basically lived out there. I would just spend all the time in my summer and just play basketball. I didn't really want to hang out with, I hung out with my friends, but I'd rather just be playing basketball with my buddies that lived right across from me.
Truly just one of the hardest working kids without a coach watching him. And when I scream process over results all day long, that's the kind of kid that's embodying it day in and day out. And a big part of that is having the platform. So, he's on at Brybrook, he's everywhere.
Growing up, I remember Devin Strosky and Luke Leonard. I remember when they played, I think it was when Liam Spellman, and it was the year after Mike Busetto graduated. And I remember watching that game here, and it was a great game. And I still watch it, actually. I couldn't get in because the tickets were sold out, but I watched it on the day. When I was in middle school, there was a camp here, and I'd walk in and
straightaway three.
I'd look around and I'd be like, yeah, I want to play here one day.
Probable 1-point lead.
Everyone wants the big moments. Everyone wants the crowd roaring for them when they're hitting shots. But it's the work you do outside, when it's cold outside, when it's not so convenient, that separates you. And when you talk about doing everything in your control to be prepared for those moments, that's what Mike's doing outside. That's what he's doing with his neighborhood, and it's showing.
That's one of the things we're preaching, playing for each other, and then obviously having brothers on the team. They're definitely playing for each other.
It's fun. At the end of the day, that's what we're there. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun, and we're both competitive. So we're gonna go at each other here and there.
Usually on one-on-ones, we're push each other, give me your best shot type deal, just competitiveness.
Are you more likely to throw an elbow or your brother?
It would probably be me. I would say I'm the more physical one. I would say I'm the more competitive than he is. He's more chill. He's more relaxed, and I go get it.
I would assume they definitely have a little competitive edge and inspire each other to get after a little bit. I know on the bench one is really cheering for the other, and you could tell it's a different vibe between the two.
I always looked at him as an older brother first, and then as a captain, I always have to respect that he's a captain and listen to him.
I'm not gonna say he gives me the right, but I'm gonna get on him about certain stuff. He's part of my team. I'm gonna hold him accountable. He's gonna hold me accountable, and we're gonna get better.
I could definitely sense a little chemistry between the two on the court. Definitely, they spend a lot of time together in the gym. Obviously, working together, working on their game. On the off season, they spent a lot of time in the weight room together, running together. So, definitely a little chemistry is definitely developing from that.
We've always played basketball together. It just came natural. We're always there. If I go to a workout, he's there. If I'm in a game, he's gonna be there. We always just played basketball together. So I know where he is. He knows where I am, and we work off of that.
We always played at the elementary school, Uncas, over there. We always had games over there. And honestly, I don't think I've ever been on the basketball team where he wasn't on my team. So we just always played together.
It's time for the Athletes of the Future, Grade 8 Plays of the Week. At number 8,
Well, the first mistake you make is getting onto the mat with Bacon Academy's Lucian Dean. The second mistake you make is trying to get up. Look at the big body slam from Dean. At number 7, Northeastern Shamrocks Hockey. Colby Bell, end-to-end rush versus Newington. The shot off the crossbar and in. At number 6, congratulations, Anaya Jenkins, Wyndham basketball, breaking the 1,000-point mark in her career. What do you do after you make your 1,000th point? Oh, you turn around and give your dad a long hug. Congratulations, Anaya. Hey, congratulations, Dad. 1,000 points for Jenkins. At number 5, Christian Fontaine, Plainfield JV basketball, half-court buzzer beater, got it! What a shot. At number 4, how about a little bad juju? Out of nowhere, Juju Garaya, East Lyme, get that shot out of here. At number 3, Zai Biondo, Stonington, playing for Woodstock Academy. Short-handed, down 1 versus Greenwich, 1:03 remaining. Let's get this thing to overtime. At number 2, welcome back, Nowak. Stonington's big man running the floor with the game winner against Norwich Tech. But at number 1, for a free week of training at Athletes of the Future, let's go to Windsor Locks. Jack Grosso, down 1 versus St. Paul. Pull it up, buzzer beaters, good. They win, and that is a free week of training at Athletes of the Future. Jack Grosso, play of the week. Send us your best plays, and maybe you can make next week's AOF Grade 8.
Point lead for NFA. We're moments away from the second half, but I'm going to bring Juice in here, and we're going to talk about the state of the league. But before I do that, I said I was going to issue a challenge, and so here it is, and I'm going to repeat it again. I'm looking at you, Lancer Nation. Next week, we're going to be at your place, Wyndham. I heard all about the dog pound when you guys won a state championship. I haven't seen the student sections coming out like I've seen them in the past. I'm looking at you, Lancer Nation. If I don't see the X filled to the brim next week, I'm going to be a little disappointed. The week after that, we're going to Grosso Tech. Hey, Grosso, we haven't been there. We're showing up. Let's see the student section. I don't expect Cheney Tech to bring a bus, but I expect Grosso Tech to fill the house. So let's get the student sections back to these games. They're not the same without you. Let's get you in the house. That being said, Juice, what can you make of the ECC right now?
You know, we knew coming into the season that New London and St. Bernard were the two best teams, and we thought, you know, Fitch was really close, if not on the same level. But you're starting to see with this NFA squad tonight, they might have what it takes. Remember, only 8 games played so far, so they're going to go through a stretch where they play like 3 and 4 games in a week because they got to get to 20, and they only have 8 right now. But we see that they have a bench. They don't have just one guy that can score. They have multiple guys that can score. So I think NFA, you could put them in the conversation. Wyndham is coming on. Killingley's had a good season so far. So right now, you know, it's New London and St. Bernard at the top. Fitch is nipping at the heels. We'll see what happens tonight between the Falcons and the Saints. But then that next level, I really think it's NFA is the team that could ascend to that 4 spot.
I love that in the league you've got St. Bernard, New London, Part 2. You've got New London, Fitch, Part 2. You've got Fitch, St. Bernard tonight. All these games that are going to help kind of settle the top. Now the question becomes settling the middle. And I agree, we're going to learn a lot about these teams. The second half possession is brought to you by Kuchar Financial, located in New London. My guy Lee Kuchar will help you keep possession of your money. Sound financial planning and investment, tax planning and preparation for both individuals and small businesses. Listen, everybody wants to feel better about their finances. So go see Lee Kuchar at Kuchar Financial, and he's going to help you make you feel more confident. First possession of the second half belongs to the Wildcats.
Looks like the Vikings playing some zone again.
Ford's the zone breaker, and that one just rattles out and Hibbard with the offensive rebound. Pontes over the back for the foul.
So the Wildcats were 4 of 9 from deep in the first half. The Vikings were 3 of 10. East Lyme relies more on that three-point shot, so they're going to have to shoot it a little bit better this half to make a game of it.
High screen from Hibbard with Timpano. Walsh. He wants a screen as well. O'Brien, nice move to the basket. Tanner O'Brien with a little hesitation. They thought he was going to pass it.
That was a good start for the Vikings. Not the start that Coach Brown had talked about. Defense, defense, defense. Give up an open layup to start the half.
Pass over the top. Stringer for 3, no good.
You had the good sight line on that right in front of you, Casey.
Yeah, unless physics have changed, that wasn't going in.
The early call. But that has been the problem with NFA, this season. I've been to a few games. Sometimes they do fall in love with that three-pointer, and they could go cold. Keep driving it. Put the onus on the East Lyme defense to stop you.
O'Brien to Timpano, pulls up just inside the three-point line. And there's Mikey. And he's the guy that can get hot. If they can get him the ball, he can be a streaky shooter, and he can help them get back in this thing.
Yeah, need to see it go in.
High screen for Ford. Good swinging of the ball. Graham for the open 3. Back iron, no good. And now it's NFA that's missed a couple open looks.
3 straight three-pointers to start the half. Good play design by Coach Brown. Again, an open shooter, but maybe you got to just drive it to the basket instead.
Hibbard had good position on Pontes, but Graham with the good hands knocks it out of bounds, so East Lyme will have it. And believe it or not, they can cut it. If they can get a basket here and cut it to 7, that's that chip away that he talked about. Hibbard forgoes the 3, instead swings. Timpano, long 3, open look, no good, and you can see just about a step out farther than he wants to be.
I think NFA now wants to try and get the ball going to the rack, but East Lyme, this zone kind of tempts you. They put 4 around the perimeter, and you got an wide open three-pointer. Every kid in America thinks they're going to make a wide open three-pointer.
Good hands from Hibbard. Timpano up ahead. Wargo. Back to Timpano. And Mikey has 2 baskets in the quarter, and the lead is indeed 7.
Yeah, nice start to the third quarter for the Vikings. 3 of 4 from the field.
O'Brien up in the grill of Ford. Oh, and Timpano thought he had it picked clean. But instead he's going to get a hand check. He does not like the foul. That's the wrong official to talk to about that, by the way.
So each team's had 4 possessions. East Lyme's 3 of 4. NFA 0 of 3 with a turnover.
Mr. Malhoit does not engage in the back and forth conversation.
Well, just keep it moving. Good drive.
We're going to get a travel on the floor or a foul on the floor. They're going to get the foul on the floor and then call it underneath.
Good decision. Good decision and a good call. The foul definitely came before the shooting motion.
Foul's on Hibbard.
NFA's been good here in the baseline out of bounds.
And we get a step there on Ford. They don't want to get going before they have the ball.
Yeah, that's just the youth. Take a breath, get your feet set under you before you make a decision.
The closest East Lyme's been in a while. A basket here would go a long way to that chip away you talk about quarter to quarter. Turning it over is not in the game plan if you're trying to chip it away. Good hands by the Vikings as Pontes lost it going to the basket.
3 straight turnovers by the Wildcats.
Hibbard wants it. They get it to him. He spins on Pontes. Baseline. No good. Good rebound by Ford. Now Pontes and Ford, a little two-man game. Pontes loses it out of bounds, and Johnston will check back in. Soria check back in. Ball will stay with NFA. Tampano will get a rest, and Schwartz will get into the ball game.
On the line, number 5, Ethan Graham.
Johnson, open three. Good job on the rebound by Graham, and that foul is going to be on Hibbard. I believe that's going to be his third.
Lid on the basket. It's a tough second half basket to shoot at for the visiting team.
That's his third, team's third.
Is on Hibbard. That is his third. Nice move by Lavoie, but he can't get it to go down right now. The basket is small. They're shooting into a tennis ball sized basket.
Yeah, NFA hasn't scored yet. 0 of 5 with 3 turnovers. So that 13-point lead is at 7.
Tampano right back into the ball game, and he's going to give Hibbard a rest with the 3 fouls. Big second quarter for St. Bernard's as they have a 10-point lead at halftime, 36-26.
Oh, so we can just push after the first one? I guess we agree then. But you can't let kids push each other. That's a double foul.
Tampano pulls up for 3. Oh, that ball was halfway down. Good hustle by O'Brien. Out of the pack, though, here comes NFA. Running the floor, the left hand, Carter Stringer. Tough break for the Vikings. They had a chance there. That 3 ball was halfway down. Stringer rips it away for the Vikings. Good look, Johnson. Soria finishes. That's pretty. And a timeout, East Lyme, because they had cut it. They had a chance to look at it, get to 4, and instead, it's back to 11.
Yeah, Hibbard on the bench. No presence in the middle, and NFA recognized that, got the ball right into the middle for the easy score.
You know, looking ahead, so that St. Bernard-Fitch game, you know, St. Bernard still has the rematch with New London. They still have to go play Staples. But the game that I think everyone's going to look at, number 1 team in the state, Notre Dame Prep. Number 2 team in the state, St. Bernard's. That game coming up, that's going to be all eyes on that one.
Yeah, at Sacred Heart University on Sunday. Notre Dame Prep used to be called Notre Dame Fairfield, used to be called Notre Dame Bridgeport before that. I guess just changing the branding, sell more T-shirts, but they were in the Final Four of Division I last year and fell to Notre Dame West Haven in a thriller.
Great game. Great game.
So that's going to be a tremendous game, and then St. Bernard has to travel to Norwich to play these Wildcats on Monday. So they're going to play a game at Sacred Heart University against the number 1 team in the state, and then the very next day against this scrappy Wildcat bunch. So a lot to look at in this next coming week in the ECC.
And a game that I'm looking forward to, New London at East Hartford. East Hartford, Petey Gittins at East Hartford. They're a New London run team right now, and and they're also 7-2. Very good. That should be a fun game too. New London at East Hartford.
And NFA plays East Hartford tomorrow.
Hibbard no good. O'Brien with the rebound. He's tied up, and he'll draw the foul and go to the line. Unlike our soft sports doctor, this O'Brien is tough under the boards.
Hey, easy on the sports doctor. He's nursing a tough loss in the college championship game.
We've moved on. We've moved on to 2026. Sports Doctor, you've been listening in on what's going on. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Jeff Brown just likes the way the flow of his team is playing right now. He's a little more athletic. You know, they're moving the basketball, and they're playing free. And, you know, when you're coaching young kids, Juice, it's important to let them to do things on the court without looking over their shoulder. And I think they're starting to grow a little bit, and their athletic ability is starting to show off a little bit.
Yeah, one of the things he's done well is he's figured out his rotation. So he pretty much plays these 8 guys that you've seen here tonight. So they're gaining confidence with each game.
Soria for 3, in and out. Walsh to O'Brien, and we're going to get a foul. Foul's on Lavoie, and that is the 4th foul on NFA. Yep. So 1 more will be in the bonus. Yeah, a lot of games in the league that we're looking forward to here in the next couple weeks.
East Lyme also not helping themselves at the charity stripe tonight. 4 of 10.
Oh, well, all of their misses, all 6 of them are from O'Brien. He is 0 for 6 from the line. Hibbard, he'll go to the line after he draws a foul. Are they going to? Either way, he should be at the line. It should be it's their 5th if it's not. Or they're just calling it out of bounds. No foul. Okay, just out of bounds. Open 3, Schwartz, got it. Reggie Schwartz.
with 3.
Good play design on the baseline out of bounds. Got the open shooter in the corner, and he drills it.
Back to single digits at 8. Johnston.
Johnston has that senior experience. He's played a lot of minutes in his 4 years.
Open 3, no good. Hibbard with a rebound. But you saw exactly what Johnston wanted. He put his shooter in the far corner, beat him off the dribble, and swung the pass out. That's very heads up.
Yeah, good decision.
Schwartz foregoes the open look, gives it to Walsh. Now Schwartz has a second open look, short. But nice job by Walsh to get there. Walsh all the way to the basket, kicks out. Timpano and Hibbard were talking to each other. And you can't put the ball on the floor in traffic. Turnover coming the other way is Johnston. And a good job by Schwartz to knock it out of bounds. Ford will check back in for NFA.
Jameer Ford back in for
and as will Javon Thompson.
Along with number 2, Javon Thompson.
The Vikings
Number 12.
not giving up. You know, they've cut a little bit off the lead, but a couple 3-pointers halfway down or couldn't knock down an open one. Those will go a long way in trying to get back into this game for real. Still plenty of breathing room for NFA right now.
Graham from his comfort spot at the free throw line knocks it down. Karch Kasher into the game. Our first look at him for East Lyme. Hibbard spins again. Little soft baby hook in the lane. That's a pretty move from Hibbard.
Wow, double spin. Put Ethan Graham in the spin cycle.
Lead is 8. Foul's going to be on the floor, away from the basket, as he was getting to the basket.
That's a nice little matchup. Graham hits a jumper in his face. Hibbard comes back, little jump hook off the spin move. I'd like to see more of that.
16 seconds. NFA can shoot the last shot if they want it. Hibbard took it away from Thompson. And Ford knocks it out of bounds with 2.8 seconds. So East Lyme they can get something here. They get a chance to cut it to 6, maybe even 5.
Just don't turn it over. We've had a positive quarter. Don't turn it over here. Get something up at the rim.
Kasher swings it. Schwartz, pump fake. Good if it goes. It's good. 3 ball is good by Schwartz at the buzzer. Just what East Lyme needed. Hey, 4th quarter coming up, and they cut it to 5. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com. Game Day is brought to you by Waterford Dental Health. Gear up for game day with a winning smile from Waterford Dental Health. Located in Waterford, we're your go-to for top-notch dental care in a relaxed, friendly setting. Whether you need a routine checkup, a cosmetic boost, or advanced treatment, our experienced team has you covered. Enjoy the game with confidence and comfort. Schedule your appointment today. Waterford Dental Health, where your smile is our top priority. Visit us online or call now to book. Ladies and gentlemen, the pressure is on. Your financial future awaits. At Kuchar Financial in New London, Connecticut, financial advisor Lee Kuchar offers a path forward. For individuals and businesses, Lee provides steady guidance, aligning your financial goals and investment strategies with your needs. Lee also offers bookkeeping and payroll services for your business. When you're looking to help secure your future, see Lee Kuchar. There's the pump fake. Let's see it. Right here. Is it out of his hand? Oh, I don't know. That is awfully close. We're going to rely on official Viveris, who said it was good. Lead is 5 for East Lyme. Backdoor cut. Hibbard threaded the needle.
Remember, there's no tenths of a second on this clock. It's the horn. It's not the triple zeros. So, like when it's not as clear as maybe that video shows. The referee has to use a judgment based on sounds in a high school game.
Turnover for East Lyme. Down 5. That would have been a big place for them to get a basket. Jump ball, good hands from Kasher. Calls the tie-up. Possession will stay here, but good hands from Karch Kasher.
The tables turned in terms of shooting that quarter. NFA was 3 of 10, 0 of 6 from 3. East Lyme was 6 of 11, 2 of 5 from 3.
Lavoie, floater, short. Hibbard scoops in the rebound off the floor, and it's a 5-point lead for NFA, East Lyme basketball.
Wildcats staying in man-to-man. East Lyme running their stuff.
Hibbard tried to dump it on a cut to O'Brien, but good hands by the Wildcats. I think that pass was meant for Thompson. He wasn't looking for it. Timpano will come into the game, and Walsh will have a seat.
Sloppy, both teams sloppy here in the fourth quarter, but for East Lyme, not the place ideally that you want Hibbard to catch the ball. You want him to get it more in the lane, maybe a little outside of the lane, so he doesn't have to do so much work to get to the basket.
Timpano. Schwartz, open look for Hibbard. Timpano pulls up, high arcer short. That's that, right? They've got it to 5. They just need that, that basket. On the other end, NFA's got, I think they got to get to the basket here. No more 3, right? Get to the basket, get this lead back up to 7.
NFA's comfortable in playing in these kinds of scrappy, ugly games, though.
3, long rebound, comes back. Graham, Johnston for 3. Good. So Keegan Johnson says, Case, listen, if I got an open 3, I'm going to knock it down. Let's knock it. Let's knock it off.
Yeah, this is kind of how they play. So they're not really panicking. They're just going to keep doing their thing. Sometimes it's ugly. Keep getting better. East Lyme knocks down some shots. They'll be in it though.
Hibbard, a good job. They set him up. Ford off to the races. Good hands by Schwartz. It'll stay with NFA. Carter Stringer will check back in the game. Wargo and Walsh back into the game for East Lyme.
So the Wildcats have definitely ratcheted up the defense, forcing 2 turnovers already early in this quarter.
Johnson will inbound. Hibbard says, what are you doing? That's my house right there. No good. Ford with the steal. Up ahead to Johnston. Johnston to the trailer. Carter Stringer.
Yeah, East Lyme had an open 3 in transition off that blocked shot. They passed it up and instead turned it over on the entry pass.
Good hand, jump ball. Possession is with East Lyme, but the lead's back to 10.
And it's turnovers. East Lyme's turned the ball over 3 out of their 5 possessions. Got to get shots up.
Hibbard.
Double spin.
Double spin, fade away, no good. Rebound, Johnston. Timeout, NFA. It's a full timeout. With a 10-point lead, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Game Day live on theday.com.
Here at Game Day, we're proud to bring you unrivaled video coverage of local high school sports. All of it free for you to watch. These videos are not free for us to produce them. If you'd like to ensure that we can keep covering your school and your teams, there's a few ways that you can support us. Hit up our merch store and pick up some Game Day gear in your school colors. Our camera operators are always looking for those shirts and hoodies in the crowd, and you may see yourself on our next live stream. We get a lot of support from businesses in our community, and if you'd like to join them as a sponsor, send us a message and we can connect you with our advertising staff. Finally, The Day is the organization behind everything we do here at Game Day. If you want to support The Day's community journalism, consider a print or digital subscription at theday.com/subscribe.
We're back, 10-point lead for NFA as Viking Valley, a little disappointing, I think. Got it to 5, had a couple chances. Now it's back to 10 and possession of the basketball as we start the fourth quarter. As we're start the 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and NFA's ratcheted up the defense, forcing 3 turnovers. East Lyme's only attempted 2 shots so far this quarter.
Ford, open 3. Got it!
Rebound number 4,
Jameer Ford.
And after missing all 6 of their 3-point attempts in the third, NFA has hit 2 out of 3 this quarter.
Hibbard tries to answer for a 3, in and out. Johnston with a rebound. Oh, good look. Graham, money.
That's as good as a layup every time Graham catches it there with a chance to face up.
Walsh gets himself into some trouble. Finds Hibbard, dumps it back to Walsh. Basket is good, and the foul. Luke Walsh will shoot the bonus.
And a good interior passing that time, and use of the up fake by Walsh to draw the foul.
Shooting 1, number 14, Luke Walsh.
So 1 bonus for Walsh. 13-point lead for NFA. Free throw's good. Lead is down to 12.
East Lyme showing a little 3-quarter court pressure here.
NFA does a nice job breaking that. Nice pump fake. Johnston, nifty move. He'll get to the line. Keegan Johnston plays like a veteran.
Yeah, he's made some good decisions and some timely shots this quarter. Has really given them some breathing room here after East Lyme had gotten back into the game into the third quarter. And once again, NFA has multiple guys who can handle the ball, multiple guys that can shoot from the perimeter. It's hard to key on one guy. You have to be defensively sound, and you can't let them have extra opportunities. Especially can't turn the ball over against them, and that's really hurt East Lyme here in the fourth.
One more for Johnston. And no good, he misses 2. East Lyme's small right now, no Hibbard. Tapano. Walsh, long 3, short. Johnston with the rebound. Tip pass, so no backcourt threat. Oh boy, Josh Lavoie.
Strength, taking the contact, finishing with the right hand this time. We saw him do that with the left in the first half.
Tapano. East Lyme taking a lot of time. Schwartz can't get it to go. Good rebound, O'Brien. O'Brien can't finish. End of the day, it's going to be missed shots that doom East Lyme.
Another team that NFA resembles is Griswolds.
Yeah, the Wolverines, I think, are the fourth best team in the ECC, but they'll be in the Division II tournament and not the Division I tournament.
NFA played a real tight one with the Wolverines up at Griswold. They'll play again on NFA senior night.
That's a tough senior night opponent.
It's going to be a good one.
I think Division II is wide open. Griswold's the clear favorite, but I think there's a lot of teams that could make the final.
But what I mean by how they resemble each other, as Johnson takes it in, is that they have multiple guys that can ball handle, and they spread the floor with 4 shooters around the perimeter, and they have a tough guy inside.
Soft 3 by Schwartz, nothing going down. Ford spins, numbers for NFA. Good hands on the other side by Timpano. 3 is good. Ring the bell, Stringer. I have loved the minutes from Carter Stringer tonight. Schwartz answers with a 3 and a timeout. East Lyme. So during this timeout, let's take a moment and talk a little bit about Division II in the ECC. Next week, we're going to have Waterford and Wyndham, and we've talked about Wyndham as a possible team in Division I that might move up. But let's slide it over to Division II for a moment. Griswold, clearly the favorite right now, but we've seen Stonington. They've got Nowak back. They thought that was what they're going to need to make a late run. We saw Ledyard beat Stonington in comeback form. Bacon Academy has beaten all of the teams in Division 5, or Division 4 rather, and has been very competitive in Division 3. Wheeler knows how to win. Tough year right now, but knows how to win. What do you make of Division 2?
I'm going to apologize to Coach Molesky in advance. It's Griswold's year. I really like the way that team plays, and honestly, I would have liked to have seen them in the Division I tournament and the Division II regular season, playing Waterford, playing Wyndham, playing Woodstock. They're an exciting team. They have 4 guys that can light it up from the perimeter, tough inside presence, play together, share the ball, a lot like this NFA team.
NFA, minute and a half remaining in this one, 14-point lead. Foul on Timpano, and that one only the second foul. We'll see if we can get an updated score. Saints 62-40, and half of their points at the end of the third come from Kurt Marshall. So 31 for Marshall through 3, and the Saints have opened it up against the Falcons.
Curtis going off.
Good look underneath to Graham.
NFA has dominated this fourth quarter. Whatever coach said in between quarters has paid off.
Foul on the floor on Lavoie. Looking at NFA, Lavoie's had a nice game. Ford, a couple of big 3-pointers. Graham scoring, the basketball. But I feel like Stringer, with scoring, defense, steals, rebounds. You're right. I can't pick a guy. They're like the hardest team in the league to pick a player of the game for.
Yeah, Johnston came in and gave him really good minutes, gave him a spark. You can't break the zone without Graham catching it at the foul line and hitting those jumpers. It kind of deflates the zone. So, and Graham did a good job on Hibbard. So, I mean, your guess is as good as mine who to single out one player for that player of the game.
Well, as we head down the stretch, a 16-point lead for NFA as they look to close this one out. Of course, at the end of this game, you're going to want to stay right here for the interview with the coach, as well as the Roberto's Log Cabin Player of the Game Day. Bacon Academy losing to Montville tonight, so right as I gave them a little bit of props. Bacon Academy is losing to Montville as we speak, so I forgot about the Wolves. Foul away from the basket.
Foul called on number 0, Reggie Swat. Team's third.
So we saw Amir Gray lighted up on theday.com last week against Hill House. He dropped a 30 spot. Curtis Marshall for the Saints with a 30 spot tonight against the Falcons.
37 seconds remaining in this one. And we'll get another foul. Looks like East Lyme's trying to foul with down 16 with 35 seconds left.
Having multiple players who can handle the ball well, that are ball handlers, is such a luxury and a premium when it comes to playoff basketball, because you can't pressure the ball and create turnovers as easily.
And that'll put Ford, and I'll put Ford at the line. Fouls on Karch Kasher.
And you think about the youth that this Norwich Free Academy team has, and if all of them continue to get better, they're all good ball handlers. Like, how are you going to pressure them? How are you going to turn them over? You know, so I really think that NFA's biggest weakness is their own shot selection and maybe just a little bit of lack of focus sometimes, but they really have the ingredients to compete with anyone.
Well, we talked about next year, even though it's still this year, in terms of, you know, the teams, you know, who is going to be the team that challenges the New London Whalers, you know. Well, this NFA team is a team that, with all this youth, is a team that might be the team to beat in the coming years here, so it's a lot to look at. 10 seconds remaining in a 19-point lead for NFA. They've done exactly what they needed to do here to maintain that lead. So as we head down the stretch, we want to remind you that at the end of this game, you're going to want to stay right here for the Sports Doctor's interview with the head coach, as well as the Roberto's Log Cabin Restaurant player of the game day. 2 shots at the line for Keegan Johnston. If you're wondering about Roberto's Log Cabin Restaurant, let me just tell you that it's in Lebanon, Connecticut. It's called the Log Cabin, and it's been called the Log. They call it the Cabin. It's a home of comfort food. It's family-owned and operated. Rob's a great guy. Great menu, diverse burgers. They say they have the best ribs in the entire state. They have a hallway of history. It's a newly renovated tavern. They got great beers, cocktails, a bunch of TVs. I think they have 10 TVs. So you can watch your sports. Go say, you know, let them know Game Day sent you, that you heard about it on Game Day, and Rob will take good care of you. That's the Roberto's Log Cabin player of the game day. Here's your final buzzer, 62-41. Your final score here, as NFA has now won back-to-back games. We said that's how a winning streak starts. You put them back-to-back, and they did exactly that. Talk a little bit about this NFA team in reference to what we talked about earlier, which is, you know, the scrappy nature, and what team might that be most disruptive towards of the Elite Three?
I don't think you want to play a team like that. Like, East Lyme came back and cut it to 5, and NFA didn't look phased. Like, they're used to playing kind of helter-skelter. They're used to playing in close games, so you don't want to face a team that has no fear like that.
The Sports Doctor is with head coach Jeff Brown and the Roberto's Log Cabin player of the game day. That's Ethan Graham.
Yeah, a lot of guys to choose from tonight. Complete team effort, but our Roberto's Log Cabin player of the game is Ethan Graham. Ethan, you take this T-shirt down to Roberto's, you wear it. Free wings for you, your teammates, and your family. Okay, good job tonight. Listen, what's the difference in a game like this coming on the road against East Lyme?
You know, we just got to come out with a lot of energy out here. The student section is wild. They're saying crazy things. You just got to stay locked in. That's what we practice for.
16 points tonight to lead the team. I mean, it seems like anybody can step up and lead this time, but tonight it was you.
Yeah, I know. I practice for stuff like this. I wouldn't rather do it with anyone else. I love this team, man. We work together hard every single day.
All right, good job tonight, Ethan. Coach, you love this team too. You talked about it. They're very young. You've got a lot of moving pieces out there. First of all, talk about the fourth quarter and how you guys are able to pull away.
Yeah, defense kind of pulled us away in the fourth quarter. So I preach to these guys every day, defense is going to win the game. So that's what happened today, and defense kind of took over at the end.
You know, Jeff, you're about 10 games into the season. You probably see the growth of this team. I mean, can this team make some noise in the ACC tournament and be disruptive to some of the big teams?
I believe it. I mean, they got to believe it, and I think they are starting to believe it now. So we'll just keep working every day and believing in ourselves, playing for each other, and we'll have some fun.
You've got a lot of moving pieces out there, too. So a lot of kids can score. Yep. A lot of kids can play defense. And you talked about it being a young team. And the one thing I've seen out there is kids don't look over their shoulders. They're not afraid to take bad shots. Yep. So they're not afraid to make mistakes. That's how you grow a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I want them to take shots. The only way you're going to make shots if you take them. So live and learn and keep playing hard for each other.
All right, it's cold outside, but NFA heated up things up here on the inside tonight, guys. Great win for the Wildcats tonight, Casey, on game day.
Thank you, Sports Doctor. Thank you to Ethan Graham, our Roberto's Log Cabin player of the game day. So let's take a quick look here at this NFA team. Let's look at the big three. St. Bernard, New London, Fitch. It's easy to say Fitch, but how does this NFA team, how could they pester a St. Bernard or a New London?
They're going to have to make a lot of shots. I mean, it's easy to say, but they're going to have to shoot a lot better. They can't have that dry spell that they had in the third quarter tonight where they were 0 of 6 from three-point land. That can't happen. So that's first and foremost. They got to have a good shooting night, and they got to be scrappy on the boards. You know, we saw last week what St. Bernard was able to do to Hill House with offensive rebounding. Offensive rebounding just breaks another team's back because you're working so hard. You get a team to take a bad shot or you play well defensively, and you can't get the rebounds. And then they get a putback. And we saw that St. Bernard's mentality is 5 guys are going to rebound on offense and on defense. So that's, I think, the way that NFA is able to compete. You got to make your shots, whether they're 2s or 3s, and then you got to be able to limit either St. Bernard or New London or Fitch to 1 shot.
I think, you know, St. Bernard's, based on what we're seeing with the score tonight against Fitch, is continuing to, you know, keep their place at the top of the mountain. New London, no one is playing better than them right now. I think everyone's looking forward to that rematch. Where I think NFA could give New London problems is New London. The New London identity has become the pressure defense, tough to pressure 5 guys who can handle the ball. So I could see that. Fitch, NFA, I could see giving Fitch problems because Fitch can go through these scoring lapses themselves, which when you have a player like Xavier Good, it's hard to believe. Malachi Saab, Sakis Reels, they've been playing a lot better. But I could see NFA on a given night causing problems for anybody. What I want to see from NFA is the clear step up into that 4th spot. To step up, and they did it tonight, right? It's a win in Division I, but no more losses outside of the big 3. No more losses, right? You got to say that we're the 4th best team and see if they can make a little noise come tournament time. I think the tournament is going to be really interesting on the bottom side, and it's going to be a question about who ends up in the seeding aspect of it, because Division II's champion might slide into a seed. So much left of it. We're about halfway. I said in the open, there's still more questions than there are answers. I think there probably still are, and we're going to see next week 2 teams that are going to be in the Division I tournament, Windham and Waterford. Wyndham's been playing a lot better. Let's take a quick look before we sign off. Windham-Waterford next week. That's going to give us maybe more answers.
Yeah, I think we'll find out a lot more about Windham. Waterford, is always tough, well coached, maybe not where they need to be this year. But Windham kind of seemingly has this type of team that like NFA has, like Fitch has, like Killingly has. So Windham should go down to Waterford and say, if we want to be recognized as one of these top teams, we got to go and handle business, and Waterford's not going to make it easy for them. It's never easy to win in the X.
It's never easy to win at the X. It's never easy to win here at East Lyme, but NFA came in tonight and did exactly that. For the coach, Chris Giusti, the sports doctor, and all of the game day crew, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Next week, of course, we just mentioned Wyndham at Waterford. You want to be there. Lancer Nation, you're on notice. We're coming. Thanks, everybody. You've been watching Game Day live on day.com.